Blog Talk Radio.
Transition, the process of change from one condition to another.
We are now at a new crossroads where change is evident once again.
What does not serve us must transform us anew.
Returning to our original state of oneness and true nature of that which created who we truly are.
Confusion was the way of the past. Enlightenment is the way of the now and future. Shedding the layers of deceit.
We now bring you the transformation of the two who started as one. Our fearless planet never stands still.
Earth has been in a process of transition, not exactly remarkable, ongoing reality.
Welcome to Transition Radio.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name's Mark Angelo Cummings, and I'm your host.
And I'm Lena Lopez, your hostess.
We are broadcasting live from the cold and wet land of enchantment, Silver City, New Mexico.
All right.
Before we start this broadcast, we wanted to
thank our sponsors at thebreastformstore.com. They have everything you can imagine to enhance your feminizing needs.
As well as Spunk Lube. It is an award-winning lubricant, and it is glycerin-free. It's 100% safe with all your sex toys, and it's fun to use. And you got to remember to close the cap when you're having the Cyrus spills all over the rug. Oh, my God. Yeah. But, I had so much fun with it, I forgot to close the cap. But it's an awesome lube. Even the carpet, which normally would have gotten all of this. Yeah. Great lube, though. It just closed the cap. Anyway, if you want to receive a discount,
you just hit TR on your computer and you can get it.
And where can they get it at?
At spunklube.com.
That's right. Just mention TR, which stands for Transition Radio, and he'll hook you up with 10% discount. They got a really good lube that looks just like semen.
Really?
Yeah.
I hadn't seen that one.
Yeah, we haven't opened that one yet because we're going through the other one first, and then we'll end up opening up all the fun ones.
I like the first one. I like the silicone.
Yeah, silicone is a pretty good one.
Yeah.
Anyway, today is Wednesday, and it is Health and Nutrition Wednesday. Yes, we always like to bring to you all these important information about things you may not know. We know everyone's really out of shape. They have all sorts of issues that all stem from what you put in your mouth, people.
What isn't it? Like 80% of the population in the United States is obese?
Yes, and the numbers are growing.
And they say that the biggest killer will be obesity in the next 5 years.
Definitely. Yet fat people are getting all up in arms about being called fat people, and they claim they're being discriminated against, and they're trying to do all sorts of stuff. And it's like, look, no one's trying to discriminate anyone. A duck is a duck is a duck. You're overweight, you're fat, you are harming yourself. You need to stop that. You need to start taking care of yourself and lose weight. You're not bound by that. People try to claim it's my genetics. I have bad thyroids. I say BS, BS, BS. Okay?
You never see a fat animal if it's not domesticated.
Okay, yes.
You never see a wild animal that's fat.
Right, because they know what to eat. They know what they're doing. Unlike us, and we put everything in our mouth. And what we put in our mouth, sometimes what we think is healthy, we don't even know how to properly prepare it. And speaking of properly preparing something, did all of you know that you need to soak your nuts, grains, seeds, and legumes?
I had no idea. Prior to meeting you, I thought if I just ate raw, a raw almond, that it was going to be good for me, but it obviously doesn't allow for what?
For many things to take place. There's the release of the enzymes, the inhibition of certain enzymes that you don't want that are actually kind of poisonous to you. Look at talking about nature, look at a squirrel. What does a squirrel do with their nuts?
It'll go and bury it under the ground.
Right.
For what?
so that the nut releases its natural moisture, which then releases the enzyme and so forth and so on. But let's tell them a little bit about what this article says.
All right.
Nature has set it up so that the nut, grain, and seed may survive until... You just messed me up completely. Until proper growing. Make it a little bigger for me, please. Nature has set it up so that the nut, grain, and seeds may survive until proper growing conditions are present. Nature defense mechanism includes nutritional inhibitors and toxic substances that can be removed naturally when there is enough precipitation to sustain a new plant after the nut, grain, or seed germinates. When it rains, the nut, grain, or seed gets wet and can then germinate to produce a plant. So we are mimicking nature when we soak our nut, grain, and seeds.
That's interesting because it's really kind of common sense. The seed's dead until it gets water.
Exactly. And it has to germinate. You have to... When I was planting my garden, there's a process that you have to do. You can't just take the seed and dump it inside the soil, though sometimes it can grow because soil has its natural moisture and rains or whatever. You have to do certain things. Nature has its routine and its form of way of doing things.
Well, the article continues and says, nutritional inhibitors and toxic substances found in nuts, grains, and seed can be minimized or eliminated by soaking. These inhibitors and toxic substances are enzyme inhibitors, phytates, phytic acid, polyphenols, tannins, and goitrogens.
So what are enzyme inhibitors, we may ask? Well, they are digestive enzymes and metabolic enzymes. Digestive enzymes help break down food. Metabolic enzymes help every biological process the body does.
Kind of important.
Very important. Enzyme inhibitors will clog, warp, and denature an active site of an enzyme. They may also bind to the enzyme, which will prevent the intended molecule from binding. Once again, the habits of traditional people should serve as a guide. They understood instinctively that nuts are best soaked, or particularly sprouted, before eaten. That's why I love sprouts. All the vitamins are there. This is because nuts contain numerous enzyme inhibitors that can put a real strain on the digestive mechanism if consumed in excess.
Oh, is that why I was getting a tummy ache?
Yes.
What are phytates? All grains contain phytic acid in the outer layer or bran. Untreated phytic acid can combine with calcium. Or is it phytic acid? I'm not sure. Magnesium, copper, iron, and especially zinc in the intestinal tract and block their absorption. This is why a diet high in unfermented whole grains may lead to serious mineral deficiencies and bone loss. The modern misguided practice of consuming large amounts of unprocessed bran often improves colon transit time at first, but may lead to irritable bowel syndrome and, in the long term, many other adverse effects.
I wanted to add, because we are a nation, or here in the United States, very high osteoporosis rate. And one of the reasons is because what we are consuming is not allowing the proper mineral to be absorbed in our bodies, and our bones suffer. Many people have irritable bowel syndromes and all sorts of gut issues, distended belly, and all sorts of things because of what they have eaten through their life and has not been properly processed, properly either soaked, or they're eating things like corn chips and things of that nature that will create major problems.
I mean, I think that, people need to be aware that there could be 3-year-old, stuff inside your gut.
And even longer than that. I mean, stuff that just sits there because if you look at your arteries, how they clog with what you eat, well, your intestines get clogged up too by stuff that you're putting in there because your body produces mucus to try to protect itself. Well, this mucus then hardens, becomes black, like a black tar that just sticks around the lumen, which means the circular area of your intestines. So you could poop every day or every other day, which most people don't poop every day, and you're still not getting all that stuff out. People don't realize that every time you eat, you're supposed to poop. So that means you eat 30 minutes later, you're supposed to take a bowel movement, just like ducks. Ducks eat and they poop, eat and they poop. That's how we're meant to do.
They do mess sidewalks up pretty badly.
Yeah. So, but we're not doing that. So all this stuff is there year after year after year from all the bad things that we're doing, and it's affecting our health. Now, why soak nuts, grains, and seeds? Well, number one, to remove or reduce phytic acid. Number two, to remove or reduce tannins. To neutralize the enzyme inhibitors is number 3. Number 4, to encourage the production of beneficial enzymes. Number 5, to increase the amount of vitamins, especially B vitamins.
Number 6, to break down gluten and make digestion easier. 7, to make the proteins more readily available for absorption. 8, to prevent mineral deficiencies and bone loss. 9, to help neutralize toxins in the colon and keep the colon clean. And number 10, to prevent many health diseases and conditions.
So notice number 8, to prevent mineral deficiencies and bone loss, which is what I mentioned earlier regarding osteoporosis. So what does the mad Americans think? Well, let's just take calcium. Let's supplement with calcium. Drink milk. And not noticing that milk is actually more acidic, which creates a vicious cycle, makes your bones become more mineralized, demineralized, and never-ending saga.
They offer milk as an alternative for kids' meals. I mean, every time, if it was always a healthy choice for the child to get milk instead of getting what they call in the North soda pop. It's like, which is worse?
They're both pretty bad because milk contains a sugar that your body cannot process, which is lactose. It also contains all sorts of antibiotics and contains all sorts of steroids, and milk is acidic. Milk is meant for the calf, not for kids. We're meant to drink our mother's milk out of her breast till we get to be, 9, 10 months, a year. Some women breastfeed their children a lot longer.
So they're like 10.
Yeah, but not cow's milk. That is not what we're meant to drink at all, and that is why we're seeing a lot of problems, diseases, mucus, so forth and so on. Anyway, soaking allows enzymes, lactobacilli, and other helpful organisms to break down and neutralize a large portion of phytic acid in grains. Soaking in warm water also neutralizes enzyme inhibitors present in all seeds and encourages the production of numerous beneficial enzymes. The action of these enzymes also increase the amount of many vitamins, especially vitamin B, during the process of soaking and fermenting. Gluten and other difficult-to-digest proteins are particularly broken down into simpler components that are more readily available for absorption.
Okay, so basically this article is saying that we should soak nuts, seeds, and grains and stuff. But what about if the peanut is already dry roasted, or if it's already been processed? I mean, there's nothing that can be done with that.
They're dead. You're eating that food.
So you're basically eating a bunch of fat and carbs.
Exactly.
And there's no nutritional value.
And the enzyme inhibitors are there full force, and they're going to be causing all the gut problems, the irritable bowel syndrome, the bloatedness, the cancers in your colon, and so forth and so on.
So raw is really the only way to eat nuts.
Exactly. Raw, and remember to soak them because you want to release the profitable enzymes so that your body can digest.
What can be used to soak nuts, grains, and seeds? The article continues, I have found many references to soaking nuts, grains, and seeds in water, salt water, or a warm water mixture with something acidic like yogurt, whey, or lemon juice. It seems within 7 to 24 hours, the enzyme inhibitors are neutralized and the anti-nutrients are broken down, regardless of the method you choose. There is evidence that the process works when you see sprouting begin.
Now, that's very exciting because I learned how to sprout when I began my raw vegan diet back, I think it was 2012 if I'm not mistaken. And it's amazing how delicious, whether it's mung beans, whether it's lentils, whether it's sunflower seeds, which are my favorite sprouts, and they're very tasty and full of nutrients, how exciting it is to see this seed come to life and bring forth life. You see the little green coming out and they start sprouting, and that has the bomb of nutrients in it, So how long does that soaking process take? Well, as little as 7 hours of soaking in warm acidulated water will neutralize a large portion of phytic acid in grains. And now, remember, each nut and seed is different. Like sunflower seeds by themselves, the little ones, only take a couple of hours. Almonds, on the other hand, I recommend 24 hours to say anywhere between 8 and 24. The longer, the better. The simple practice of soaking cracked or rolled cereal grains overnight will vastly improve their nutritional benefit. Flour products should be soaked at room temperature for at least 12 hours, but better results may be obtained with a 24-hour soaking.
Flour is like
Yes, any kind of flour products.
So we're supposed to eat flour?
Well, you're not, but they're talking about flour products like your grains, like the oatmeal, the millet, the quinoa, things of that nature. All the stuff
people eat for breakfast, right?
All the stuff that is a grain that can be made into a flour.
Right.
You could take millet, you could take quinoa, grind it in the food processor, and it becomes a flour. We're not talking about the white bleach flour. That's absolutely nothing. We're talking about the grains that are made into flour.
I was a little confused.
Yes.
Are the nuts, grains, and seeds used wet? The article says, I have enjoyed almonds wet. If you choose to try consuming anything in the soaked state, make little batches and store them in the refrigerator. Usually everything that is soaked is dried in a dehydrator or oven on the lowest possible setting for 24 to 48 hours to remove all moisture.
I really don't mind having it wet. I mean, I usually either add the nuts and seeds to our salads. I soak the oats, the steel oats, and usually put it in our morning lettuce banana concoction, which is, you're getting a lot of great nutrients and holds you throughout the day. Now, I know there's a lot of people that have a problem. They're vegetarian. They don't really want to become vegan because they love their cheese. They love to eat their cheese. And although there are a lot of vegan cheese substitute, cheese made out of almond, rice milk, or rice cheese, and all sorts of vegan alternatives, there's a thing called nutritional yeast. Now, a lot of people have asked, well, what is nutritional yeast and what is the benefit of it?
Well, chances are you have at least one friend who is vegan, because really, who doesn't these days? Well, you actually have two.
Yes.
Because we're here.
Yeah.
And you may have heard them talking about cheese, about eating some questionable items like a bowl of mac and cheese or some homemade pizza. How, you might wonder? Well, friends, they were getting nutritional yeast before those eyebrows get any higher. Let's explain.
Well, nutritional yeast, affectionately called nush by those who are in the know, is a magical substance found in the bulk or supplement section of most health food stores. It's actually like 8 something a pound, and it comes in a flake, or it comes in the powder form. But it's good and it's worth it. The name doesn't sound too appealing, but nutritional yeast is just an inactive yeast made from sugar cane and beet molasses. It's very similar to the active yeast found in bread, but has no leavening ability. And it's instantly allows for some amazing variety in vegan diet, specifically for a cheesy umami-like flavor. What's an umami-like flavor? I've never
we're going to have to research that. I think it's like Asian, right?
Or maybe like a nut. Yeah, unami is that some sort of...
We're learning a lot with everyone else. We don't have all the answers.
Well, I mean, I do know a lot about nutritional yeast. I've just never heard of umami-like flavor.
Yeah.
I know it's cheesy and almost like nutty, and it's got a very delicious taste.
Well, I like to compare it to Parmesan.
Yeah.
It has that same consistency and kind of flavor.
Yeah.
Well, the best part, nutritional yeast doesn't have to be reserved for only vegans. All you meat lovers out there, it can be a healthy and delicious addition to anyone's diet. Before you dismiss the idea that nutritional yeast might be the ingredient you never knew you needed, consider all of these fantastic things that you can do with it.
First thing first, nutritional yeast can replace cheese in almost every single recipe that calls for it. A lot of people love nutritional yeast for its strong resemblance to Parmesan cheese, as you mentioned earlier. Mm-hmm. It can serve as a healthy alternative to real cheese sauce. You can make lasagna with that cheese sauce. This version is so creamy and so cheesy, but with no dairy, it's a true miracle.
Number 3, or some indulgent mac and cheese. This dairy-free recipe looks just as cheesy as the real deal.
Now, don't use real, what are they called?
Use zucchini.
Use zucchini and make their type. There's like a spiralizer that makes spaghetti-type looking thing, and then you can pretend you're having pasta, and you're not eating that dead, gooey, cement kind of thing that sticks to your
sludge.
Yeah.
For a fact, smearing your next sandwich with this pesto helps provide you with essential nutrients. Nooch is rich in B vitamins, which are especially important to your body to maintain a good food metabolism, a healthy nervous system, and to help your body regenerate red blood cells. And if you're vegan or vegetarian, you may be missing out on these important nutrients.
Nutritional yeast works wonders with potatoes. And for those of you who did not know, you could also eat potato raw. I know they're trying to scare the living daylights out of you, but you can eat potatoes raw. You can put them in the food processor, mix them with avocado. You can put them in the food processor and add some nutritional yeast in there, and my God, it's delicious. You'll gobble this up so fast that you won't even notice they aren't made with real cheese. And pasta, which we don't suggest to use, one bite of this, and we can almost guarantee you'll forget dairy even exists.
Well, pasta like zucchini.
Zucchini,
yeah.
There's this, it's called spaghetti squash.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's named spaghetti squash, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because you can make spaghetti out of it.
Yeah, you take the fork after you boil it, and it just comes out like spaghetti strands. It's very good.
Number 7, perhaps you're gluten-free. Nutritional yeast will also be your best friend. Nutritional yeast contains 0 gluten and helps provide a savory kick to, for instance, a tofu frittata, which also happens to be wheat and dairy-free.
If you're feeling a bit lazy, all you have to do is sprinkle some on your red sauce. Instant flavor in one very easy step.
And 9, if you're trying to watch your sodium intake, nutritional yeast works as a superb salt replacement.
It does have a little bit of a salty flavor to it, and yet there's no salt in there.
It could be like a nice salt cheese flavoring.
Yeah.
Nutritional yeast contains absolutely 0 sodium, so if you're trying to watch your blood pressure, sprinkle nooch on your popcorn. Well,
we don't recommend popcorn either.
It's popcorn kernels instead of salt, but for those that still like,
take raw corn, raw sweet corn,
put nooch on it.
And put nooch on it, and then you...
We need to try that.
Yeah, no.
Cut some off, put nooch on it.
Yeah.
And number 10, when vegans want gravy on their mashed potatoes, nooch saves the day. With its strong, again, umami-like flavor, nutritional yeast is a great substitute for meat stock in gravy.
Even your dog will love it. Fido is going to be a lucky pooch because nutritional yeast is great for him to eat. You can most definitely sprinkle some nooch in his food for both taste and additional vitamins. This will help immensely if you happen to be raising your dog on a vegetarian or vegan diet, which a lot of vegans do. And their dogs are a lot healthier. They have a lot healthier coats. They're less aggressive.
I used to grill my dog burgers, but I guess that was wrong.
That was wrong. So don't forget about dessert. Nutritional yeast adds depth to sweet treats as well. We haven't tried that.
No.
I mean, there's so many stuff.
Well, we're just starting out.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I used to do a lot of different things back in the day when I was. But right now, limiting with the size of the kitchen, we don't have a lot of these fun toys that raw vegans usually get.
And I'm recovering from a major, injury.
Yes.
Well, talking about major injury, what does Coke do that always doesn't surprise anybody? I mean, these companies that try to remake their product into something that is supposedly healthy.
Yeah, and then they pay the experts to lie for them.
It's ridiculous.
I
mean, it's not
sad.
just Coke, but it's like General Mills does it, PepsiCo does it, McDonald's does it. I mean, even if you don't understand what they go through to make it so that your experience at a McDonald's is like something that you want to go back to, they even hire companies to present like scents and stuff into the building to make your experience feel better.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I mean, people don't know what is behind these people who just really want to make money.
Oh,
in the end, they just want to make money.
It's all
That's
about,
all Coke wants to do.
Yeah, and it's all the organizations, from religion to politics, you name it. It's all based on lies and all for a profit. And then this Diet Coke business.
Oh God!
It's like, okay, these huge fat people.
Order
Diet Coke. No, I'll order a burger and a Diet Coke. Like the Diet Coke is going to minus what they're eating in the burger.
It's going to cut out the fat content.
You actually get fatter with the Diet Coke because the saccharin and all that stuff in there mimics this thing in your brain, and you'll always feel hungry.
Well, it trains the brain to think that
it's never full.
It's never full.
Yeah, so it's pretty sad.
Coke promotes itself as quote unquote healthy. Coke works with nutrition experts who suggest its cola as a healthy treat. If a column in honor of heart health suggests a can of Coke as a snack, you might want to read the fine print. The world's biggest beverage makers working with fitness and nutrition experts who suggest its cola as a healthy treat. In February, for instance, several wrote online pieces for American Heart Month, with each including a mini can of Coke or small soda as a snack idea.
Ben Schneider, a Coca-Cola spokesman, compared the February post to product placement deals as company might have with TV shows. We have a network of dietitians we work with, said Shielder, who declined to say how much the company pays experts. Every big brand works with bloggers or has paid talent or has trolls that go into to deny what is being said.
To refute anything that's being spoken against them.
Exactly.
Other companies include Kellogg and General Mills, as I mentioned earlier, have used strategies like providing continuing education classes for dietitians, funding studies that burnish the nutritional images of their products, and offering newsletters for health experts. PepsiCo Incorporated has also worked with dietitians who suggest its Frito-Lay and Tostito chips in local TV segments on healthy eating. Others use nutritional experts in sponsored content. The American Pistachio Growers has quoted a dietitian for the New England Patriots in a piece on healthy snacks and recipes, and Nestle has quoted its own executive in a post about infant nutrition.
Bottom line, folks, you can't believe a lot of what you're reading. The nutritional industry, the fitness industry is there to make a buck. They're lying to you. This is why people are fatter than ever and sicker than ever. You've got to go with your gut feel. You can't trust your doctor. You can't trust these so-called experts that are poisoning you and all for a profit.
Paid experts.
Exactly. For Coca-Cola Company, the public relations strategy with health experts in February focused on the theme of heart health and Black History Month. The effort yielded a radio segment and multiple online pieces. One post referred to a refreshing beverage option such as a mini can of Coca-Cola. Another suggests portion-controlled versions of your favorites like Coca-Cola, mini cans, packed of almonds, or pre-portioned desserts for a meal.
The focus on the smaller cans isn't surprising. Sugary drinks have come under fire for fueling obesity rates and related ills. And the last time Coke's annual U.S. soda volume rose was in 2002, according to the industry tracker Beverage Digest. More recently, the company is pushing its mini cans as a guilt-free way to enjoy cola. Instead of drinking 150 calories, you drink 90.
Right.
The cans also, guess what, fetch higher prices on a per-ounce basis. So if people are drinking less soda, Coke says it can grow sales.
It's like conniving, ways of doing things, and people are.
Don't they make enough money?
I guess.
Coca-Cola reigns in the world. There's not a country you can go to, even Red China, we could get Coca-Cola.
And it's like death in a can.
It is. Basically. They used to have cocaine in it.
Yes. That was even better when it had cocaine. Now it's got all this high corn fructose syrup and all these chemicals. At least cocaine is made out of coca leaf.
Well, if you go to Mexico, you can get regular Coke that doesn't have sugar in it.
Back in the day when Coca-Cola first started, it was not such an unhealthy proposition.
Right.
Because cocoa leaves, there's nothing, it's not like processed cocaine where you process and snort it. It's cocoa leaves is actually very good for you. It was a natural
stimulant. So it was actually healthy.
It was healthier, not healthy, but healthier than it is today. In a statement, Coca-Cola said it wants to help people make decisions that are right for them. Sure they do. And that, like others in the industry, it works with health experts, quote unquote, to help bring context to the latest facts and scientists around our products and ingredients. It said any communications by the experts it works with contains the appropriate disclosure.
That's crazy. Most of the pieces suggesting mini Cokes say in the bios that the author is a consultant for food companies, including Coca-Cola. What are these people thinking? They can just roll it right over the American public and say, this is healthy. It's been known to cause obesity. It's been known to cause diabetes. It's been known to cause all kinds of problems.
Ulcerations in the gut. Do you know if you
Caffeine.
take Coca-Cola and put it on battery, it eats up the battery thing?
What does it do to your gut?
It kills you. People aren't realizing that, all these commercials, all these corporations, they don't care about your health. They care about their bottom profit. That's bottom. I had a client who her husband was working for the high corn fructose syrup company, and they knew how bad it was, how lethal, but it made them more money. It was easier to process than sugar. So they got rid of sugar, and they added high corn fructose syrup to everything.
is insane. They do these things and they just don't think that people are, it's okay, it's people that are going to not realize it, and they just fool people. You know, Kelly McBride, who teaches media ethics at the Poynter Institute, said the phrasing of the disclosure that an author is a consultant for food companies, including Coca-Cola, doesn't make it clear the author was specifically paid by Coke for the column. They just fool people.
And you see this time and time again with a lot of these articles, not just nutritional articles, but anything. They'll hire these so-called experts. That's why I always tell you who wrote the article, because you can't really trust what you're reading, because it's paid experts.
And they're paid by the company that's promoting the product.
Yeah, exactly.
The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, a professional group for dietitians, says in its code of ethics that practitioners promote and endorse products only in a manner that is not false and misleading. A spokesman for the Academy did not respond when asked if the posts on mini Cokes meet those guidelines.
Of course not. Meanwhile, a group called Dietitians for Professional Integrity has called for sharper lines to be drawn between dietitians and companies. Andy Bellotti, one of its founders, said companies court dietitians because they help validate corporate messages, just like pharmaceutical companies do with doctors. The message that Coke can be a healthy snack is debatable. Alice Lynchins, a professor of nutrition science and policy at Tufts University and a member of the nutritional committee at the American Heart Association, said a smaller can of soda might be a move in the right direction for someone who regularly drinks soda. Still, she wouldn't recommend soda as a snack.
The health experts who wrote the pieces mentioning Coke stand by their recommendations. Of course, they're being paid for it.
Exactly.
Robin Flips, the dietitian who wrote the sponsored article for Coke and got paid by them, said she would suggest mini cans of Coke even if she wasn't being paid. A dietitian.
Right.
Although she doesn't drink soda herself.
Of course not.
She said the smaller cans are a way for people who like soda to enjoy it sensibly and make the company more money.
Yeah. I used to have arguments with nutritionists when I worked for Fort Bayers here in Silver City, New Mexico. Somebody who had an open heart surgery, they were feeding them red meat. I'm like, hello, wait a minute. You know, these dietitians are being taught incorrectly, and people are listening to these dietitians.
Just because they have the name dietitian.
They know absolutely zero. Anyway, Flip said the idea to mention mini cans of Coke in the post was hers and came about after a public relations agency for Coke suggested a piece on heart health and asked what she might work in.
How convenient.
I know.
Flips has worked with Coca-Cola and the American Beverage Association for years, so she's in their pocket.
Yeah, of course.
Her roles have included sending out messages on social media refuting the idea that sugary drinks are to blame for obesity, although it's well known, and making herself available as an expert for news outlets. If a story says something negative about artificial sweeteners, Flips said she might contact the PR agency and ask, do you want me to do something about that?
Yeah, like the trolls and whatever. And also, you know, we're looking at the same thing with the immunization, the vaccinations. Oh, no, it does not cause autism. Oh, no, it's healthy for you. I mean, come on. And have experts write about this. And people are just so dumbed down and believe everything they hear. Don't you find it ironic that Burger King is removing soda from its kids' meal? Mentioned Burger King's cutting sodas from kids' meal. It's going to be a lot tougher for kids to make it a combo at Burger King. They can get the burger and the fries, but the soda is no longer included in its kids' meals. I don't think it's because Burger King cares about the kids. I just think that they want to make more money, so they're selling the Coke separate.
Following similar moves by McDonald's and Wendy's, Burger King has decided to take fountain drinks off its kids' meal menu. The chain will now highlight fat-free milk, apple juice, and low-fat chocolate milk as kids' drink options. But kids can still ask for soda even though it's not listed on the menu.
And it's not provided for free, the low-fat chocolate milk, which is not any better.
Like
apple juice.
That apple juice. And, you know, kids think that just because they're drinking juice, and most juice these days isn't 100%.
It's high corn fructose syrup.
Right.
A ton of it. And, of course, the milk. I mean, it's like death by this or death by that. Which way would you want to die?
Well, milk has been touted as a very healthy, you know, drink for years and decades. I mean, didn't they have that big campaign, for milk. Remember?
Milk does your body good.
Does your body good.
And it does not your body good. And again, it's
milk.
the milk industry that is promoting this. People need to wake up and realize the Kool-Aid they're being sold.
The move is part of the company's effort to offer our guests options that match lifestyle needs. Alex Macedo, president of Burger King North America, told USA Today.
BK is among the many major fast food chains feeling the pressure to improve the quality of their food in response to growing demands by consumers, particularly millennials, who would rather pay for the fresh ingredients and premium sources than save money on cheaper options held to questionable standards.
Advocates say keeping sugary drinks off the menu will not only promote children's health, as soda is the leading source of calories in children's diets, but also prevent fights between parents and children.
Fewer kids will become conditioned to think that soda should be a part of every eating out occasion, said Margot Wooten of the Center for Science in the Public Interest, which has been trying to get fast food chains to stop advertising soda to children.
It seems unlikely that kids will just forget soda's existence because it's off the menu, but let's just hope for now that this move doesn't push them in the direction of a shake instead.
Which is mucus forming and made out of milk. Like I said, they replace one bad item with another bad item. It's like crazy. Why not drink water, or actually drink nothing at all when you eat, because you're not supposed to drink any fluids when you're eating because it dilutes the enzymes in your stomach that helps digest your food.
So it kind of makes your body work harder.
Exactly. And inefficient. So drink in between meals, but never during meals.
So it's not just the drink that's the concern now. It's also what the drink is held in that's the concern.
That's right.
Because people are talking about, it's BPA free, so I can buy this bottle, for, go jogging or something like that, or to cook in or whatever.
Right.
But we're finding out that it's not so safe. Exactly. After all.
After years of campaigning, health advocates finally convinced many household products manufacturers to remove the chemical bisphenol A, known as BPA, from items like receipts, plastic bottles, and the lining of tin cans. And as a result, it's not hard to find products labeled BPA-free. But it turns out the chemicals used to replace BPA may have nearly the exact impact on the human body, hormone disruption, as BPA, according to a new study in the journal Environmental Health Perspectives. Replace one item with the other, and just as lethal.
According to pretty much all the literature there is on these two substitutes, they are hormonally active in ways similar to BPA. Similar mechanisms, similar potencies, said study author Johanna Rochester, a researcher at the Endocrine Disruption Exchange.
The study evaluated existing research on two BPA replacement chemicals, bisphenol S and F, known as BPS and BPF. The similarity between the compounds may extend beyond the name. The study suggests, for one, the compound structures are remarkably similar. The compound also have, like BPA, part of the reason why they may a good replacement for manufacturers, if not for consumers looking to oust hormone-disrupting chemicals from their products.
Research on the health effects of BPF and BPS is still in its early stages. Just because a chemical has the ability to behave a certain way in the body doesn't necessarily mean it's dangerous. Still, the researchers say, based on what we do know, the average consumer has reason to be a little concerned. BPA has been known to cause problems with human reproduction, metabolism, neurological function, and a whole host of other problems.
Which brings me to the attention of all the trans individuals that are being born, all the people that have to go to infertility clinics because they can't produce and make babies, all the guys that have to take Viagra because they can't keep it up. We're using all these hormone-disrupting chemicals that are actually creating major problems.
But no one's really thinking about it because you're just heating up mac and cheese in the microwave.
Exactly. Or drinking stuff out of products that have the hormone-disrupting chemicals.
I mean, I'm sure that a regular bottle of water, like a water, just that you buy at the store.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it has BPA,
one or the other. And then you leave that bottle in your car and it gets warmed up by the sun or whatever, or going from point A to point B in the trucks to the store, the stuff that you're eating, your juices and everything.
I mean, going back to the trans issue, there are a lot of soldiers out there that come back and then they start to transition, and you wonder if they've been drinking a lot of that bottled water hot in the Iraqi desert,
and all of a sudden they feel like a woman. You know? Or, pardon me, I've always been a woman.
That's right. Yeah. They always do that.
Yes. We've got to do something about putting brand new compounds in products without having consulted with biologists about what they...
Shocker.
Yes, and Cheryl S. Watson, a professor at the University of Texas Medical Branch at Galveston, who was not involved in this research.
But beyond researchers sounding the alarm, what should you do as a consumer if you're concerned about BPS and BPF? Here's a good place to start. Know that BPA-free products can still have unhealthy chemicals. This is the most important thing to know, and it's pretty straightforward. A BPA-free label doesn't mean a product is free from other harmful chemical compounds that are slightly different, but have a different name. Indeed, the BPA-free package program, a third-party group that verifies that products don't have BPA, is halting operations because the certification creates a false halo of health, given growing evidence of the dangers of BPS and BPF. Still, because products with BPS and BPF behave similarly to products with BPA, you can follow the same rules to avoid the associated hazards that you would use for BPA.
Avoid handling receipts. This is something we do commonly. Everybody would go to the store, they have us a receipt. It's no-brainer. Receipts at many grocery stores and retailers are printed on a product known as thermal paper. These receipts, once heavy in BPA, are often made with BPS or BPF these days. And, we also put it in our pocket, which is near our genitals.
Oh, gosh.
You never know, In some ways, exposure to these compounds and receipts may be riskier than exposure to containers made with a compound. In receipts, BPS and BPF are free and can easily migrate from the product to your skin and other surfaces. You even put it on your counter or whatever, and it's present to your food when you're cutting. It is a receipt that I do need. The person quotes, if it's a receipt that I do need, I'll hold it out. I'll hold my bag out and ask the person to drop it into the bag so I don't have to touch it, Watson says.
Drink from steel or glass containers, not plastic ones. Steel and glass drinking containers are widely available. It makes sense to purchase a few for the house and a few for the office. Don't microwave your food in plastic containers. The heat from the microwave can separate BPA-like compounds from plastic containers, making them easier for the consumer to ingest. If you must use plastic Tupperware, you should avoid the microwave. Ideally, you just store food in ceramic or glass containers in the first place.
Well, all these TV dinners come in plastic containers, and people heat up the TV dinner directly into the microwave.
How about just popcorn?
Popcorn, that's another.
What they put in there.
Inside, microwave popcorn, which is the way most people microwave their popcorn. It's, guys, we are being assaulted from every angle. We're being assaulted spiritually, we're being assaulted financially, we're being assaulted politically, we're being assaulted throughout our health, our mental well-being. You need to take responsibility. You need to educate yourself, not be so gullible and vulnerable to what you're being so-called taught by the so-called authorities. Wake up.
Have we run out of time?
No, not yet. We've got 2 more minutes.
Okay.
We babbled on enough.
Whoa.
Anyway, Friday is our relationships and spirituality. So we're gonna start really
digging into some stuff,
really serious stuff, and help you guys make your own decision about what has been taught to you by the religious sector. We have been made feel worthless, that our hearts are wicked. We have been lied to about creation. We have been lied to about so many things, and the evidence is there. This is not something that we're making up, but you guys can be the judge, and we will be bringing you all this information week to week, every Friday, which is what we plan to talk about spirituality.
It's always fun to talk about spirituality because it's so eye-opening,
It is. Well, guys, we're going to call it quits. I think we've got a minute left. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. We look forward to Friday and bringing you some more great information. If you guys have any questions, email at transitionradioshow@gmail.com. Comments, whatever it is, we always look forward. Well, guys, if you can't leave your truth,
it's just not worth living.
No, it's not. Good night, folks. See you on Friday.